The market's been dumping over the last few days, but why? And will it pick back up soon? Plus, these couple of altcoins are seeing real-world adoption that could set them apart from the rest. This is your Altcoin Buzz News. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Cody, and if you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when we drop latest content. Follow us on Twitter, AltcoinBuzzIO, and as always, the not financial advice, and wish the best of luck in your crypto ventures. Also, make sure to join us for our X Spaces Tuesday to Friday at 10 a.m. EST, link down below. Alright, good morning guys. What a rough couple days it's been in the markets. We saw this last week where we swept the previous highs and closed back below this, which was not ideal. Even worse, we closed back into this range from 120 down to 115,000. So we closed back in here and we said, if we close this candle below here, we're most likely going back down to the bottom of the range. I didn't think we'd go back down to the bottom of this range here towards the previous all-time highs around $112,000. But this is because of what's happening in this week, which is we have the Jackson Hole summit with Jerome Powell. And recently we have Walter Bloomberg saying Powell unlikely to commit on rate cuts. Fed Chair Jerome Powell is expected to keep options open in his Jackson Hole speech on Friday, avoiding firm signals on a September rate cut. Markets largely expected easing, but Powell may stress that the path isn't certain. So originally it looked like there was going to be a 99% chance there would be a rate cut in September and then maybe a couple more later this year. However, then when we had really bad PPI data, it looked like inflation wasn't going away as quickly as we would expect. And it seems that, Jerome Powell might hold rates longer at this level and maybe only have one rate cut this year in total instead of 1 to 3 rate cuts. And so people are a little bit less, sure about this rate cut happening, which is part of the reason the markets have been dumping. The markets are very forward looking. So a lot of times going into that September, rate cut, we were pumping up into this, but now that there's less of a chance that could happen, we've been selling off. And so if something does happen, if it is bullish, if he does say, hey, we are going to have a rate cut, which he probably won't just flat out say, but if he is a little bit more dovish in his speech, the markets could very easily come back up here. We pretty much have to just wait and see what happens later this week on Friday at the Jackson Hole Summit. So a lot of the TA is pretty much dependent on what happens with the macroeconomic factors, unfortunately. And so there's an 80% probability of an interest rate cut from Jerome Powell next month. It was 99%, but he should cut by more than 0.25%. Here's why.
Here today, the Fed funds futures market is pricing an 80% probability of a quarter point, a 25 basis point rate cut at the September meeting. That seems about right, but I'd like Powell to open the door for an even larger rate cut because the truth is, he was wrong. He was wrong in March. He was wrong in May, wrong in June, wrong in July, not to lower rates because the tariff-induced inflation has not materialized. Since President Trump took office, inflation of the CPI variety has annualized 1.9%. That is not at the Fed's target, David. That's below the Fed's target. And so when my friend Bill Pulte, the U.S. Federal Housing Director, comes out and says that once again, the Fed is hallucinating about the data, he is absolutely right. They should look at the real data in the real economy, do the right thing, and lower rates for once.
Now, you know what he's going to do. He's going to focus all of his attention on the PPI, saying that that's the real indicator and the core there is what's driving us. Will that fly at all?
I don't think so. I don't think investors like ourselves we're not going to buy that because we don't buy the cherry-picking panicans like Jerome Powell. If you look at the July PPI numbers, 2/3 of the increase came from services. Yeah. Services are not being tariffed. Yes. And so it just doesn't line up with the facts and realities.
And so while many people are fearing a top for Bitcoin, as this is a very, bearish signal here, sweeping the highs and then, heading back down lower, while many people are kind of fearish of the end of the bull market, the Morgan Stanley chief investment officer says the bull market is just beginning. So he says this.
So you believe we started a new bull market back in April. Why?
Because we had a bear market. And I think that's the thing that people don't really acknowledge, which is that, the sell-off in April was really a final capitulation to a bear market that began last summer. If you actually look at most stocks, they topped in July of 2024. They were down anywhere between 30 and 35% on average. I mean, that's a proper bear market that ended with a capitulatory price action.
Then moving on, we have Ripple saying, congrats to Bullish on a successful IPO. A portion of the IPO proceeds were settled in RLUSD, minted on the XRP ledger. This is the first public listing to bring the settlement process on-chain, and sets a precedent for how stablecoins can shape the future listings, so that's very bullish. And then we have Jack McDonald saying RLUSD on XRPL is only becoming more integrated in traditional financial rails from its usage as good collateral to cross-border settlement, and now for the first time as IPO proceeds payment. Even before the Genius Act passed, RLUSD was reportedly recognized across both crypto and TradFi as the gold standard in compliance, and now the floodgates are open. Watch the space. We also have the SEC delaying the XRP ETF decision for Bitwise, CoinShares, and 21 Shares. The 21 Shares Core XRP Trust, originally set for a date of August 20th decision, has been postponed until October 19th. Analysts suggest that the SEC could be lining up multiple approvals to hit the market simultaneously, which is most likely the case. And they're delaying a lot of them, like the Solana one just got delayed as well. So it seems like they kind of want to get more information and then maybe approve all of these ETFs sometime in October. CoinEx is one of the best exchanges you haven't heard of. Like Gate.io or Mexi, they offer a lot of coins. But more importantly, they offer the high quality coins you want. And now for a limited time, the first 200 users who deposit Pump, BONK, or ZORA into their futures account get a share of the futures trial bonus pool. Even better, new futures traders who trade in Pump, BONK, or ZORA between now and August 25th get a share of the 50,000 set prize pool. Set is CoinEx's native token, and thanks to the CoinEx exchange and its aggressive burn program, this is a token you may want in your portfolio, and all just for trading futures of these popular coins. All you have to do is open your new account, make your deposit at CoinEx, and start trading these futures, and the bonus is yours. Meanwhile, you get all the great features CoinEx offers that match Tier 1 exchanges, which includes spot trading, futures trading, P2P trading, staking, lending, and more. So take advantage of the CoinEx futures bonus pools today. Start by setting up your account on CoinEx, and you're off to the races. Click the link down below for more details. And then moving on to Hbar, we have, this is big for Hbar. Apple, Tesla, and MicroStrategy are now all tokenized on Hedera. So we also have All in Crypto saying tokenized stocks are coming to Hedera. Combined with recent collaborations with Lloyds Bank, Archax, and Aberdeen Investments, Hedera may already be a top 3 RWA network. We also have Steph saying Hedera Foundation has partnered with Dubai's TBH to bring millions of gamers to the Hbar ecosystem. So not only do we have millions of gamers, but we also have millions in RWAs as well. Then moving on, we have Sui, and Sui is now joining Robinhood, so you can now get Sui on Robinhood. Starting August 19th, millions of Robinhood users can trade Sui with a tap of a button. Another step forward and bring the power of Sui to everyone, everywhere. We also have Terrero Romero saying Sui surpassed $55 billion in total aggregated volume. We also have Sui has flipped Solana and Ethereum, now the #1 in daily active addresses with 3.5 million users plus 219% in 30 days. And Masari Crypto shared the state of Sui Network Q2 with a key update. Sui's ecosystem expanded rapidly with institutional adoption, gaming integrations, and innovative infrastructure launches, positioning it as a leading platform for the next-gen Web3 apps. For the quarter-over-quarter metrics, they had daily DEX volume up 20% to a $367 million all-time high. Their DeFi TVL is up 44%, and the Sui market cap is up 31.3%. We also have Sui sharing that DeLorean takes Sui RWAs to the next level. Check out the Car Week takeover. So we have DeLorean Labs, who is now officially partnered with Sui. So they said, for the first time, a major car brand has fully committed to building on-chain, and are proudly doing so with our partners at Sui. So DeLorean, the car brand, is now partnering with Sui, which is amazing. And last, we have Sui set to surpass ETH and Solana as Mill City Ventures CEO predicts Sui's dominance with 81 million Sui treasury bet. So Mill City Ventures, if you remember, is the treasury company that is buying a bunch of Sui. And so he said this.
Like, it's 2 years old. It's got all-time transaction volumes, even surpassing Solana at this point.
Exactly,
I think.
yeah.
It's got increasing users on the chain. It's got increasing developer growth, the fastest developer growth in the past year of any blockchain, a huge increase in TVL. So, winding it forward 2, 3, 4 years, where do I think the Sui price is going? Well, I think Sui could outperform Solana. I think it could outperform Ethereum in 2 years in terms of its all-time high in FDV. Like, that's easily feasible.
And then we have the Plume Foundation, and they said a big milestone. Plume is now listed on Binance. The trading starts August 18th with the pairs USDT, USDC, BNB, FDUSD, and TRI. We also have Not Telling saying one of China's largest banks, China Merchants Bank Institutional, has announced the deployment of their money market fund onto the Plume network. Plume is getting adopted all over the world, and it's just the beginning. And Plume also shares another world's first for Plume. The first on-chain money market fund fully recognized by both Hong Kong and Singapore regulators is here, powered by Plume. Regulated institutional-grade products can thrive on public blockchains without compromising on compliance. So we're starting to see, between XRP, Hbar, Solana, Plume, a lot of these, products start to see big real-world adoption, whether it's RWAs or their stable coins. We're seeing a lot of altcoins kind of differ from regular altcoins where most don't have a use case or they're just, kind of a governance token, to actually being used by, huge companies in the real world. And then lastly for today, we have SCOR and Winners Alliance launched a Sixer Smash with T20 stars. So the cricket-inspired minigame blends arcade-style fun and blockchain rewards and lets players compete as avatar versions of some of the world's top T20 stars. Modeled after the swipe mechanics popularized by games like Fruit Ninja, Sixer Smash challenges users to hit sixes and collect gems. Players can turn their skills into real digital rewards. Gems earned in matches can be converted into SCOR, the platform's native sports token. This token is redeemable for sports-themed prizes, such as signed memorabilia. And this launch arrives at the height of cricket's global season. Sixer Smash is positioned to tap the excitement around major summer matches. And to mark the launch, SCOR on Suite is running a competitive event. Top scorers will secure whitelist access and guaranteed allocations for the upcoming NFT cricket sticker packs. These packs unlock professional player avatars in the SCOR store and grant access to special in-game power-ups. With nearly 500,000 monthly active users, SCOR on Suite is becoming the go-to destination for quick, skill-based games across multiple sports. The platform previously partnered with Winners Alliance on Flappy Racket, a tennis-themed minigame that launched ahead of Wimbledon. So that is SCOR, and that is the video for today, guys. We are pretty much just waiting for Jackson Hole to be concluded and see what the Fed has to say this week. So a lot of TA isn't, a lot of the TA is going to be kind of dependent on that. And so we're kind of just waiting for this big macro event. But that's the video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow.